Alright. Now we're going to finish up with the leg muscles and be done with muscles. The first one we're going to talk about is the psoas. It is a combination of two, sometimes called the iliopsoas muscle, that comes from back here on the lumbar spine, maybe the last of the thoracic vertebrae, and then inserts down here below on that lesser trochanter on the femur. And what it allows you to do is to flex that hip, or to take that femur and bring it up anterior, so bringing it closer to your stomach or up. That, like if you're climbing stairs, so that lifting motion of your leg, that's going to be part of that psoas coming from the lumbar and wrapping around to the lower trochanter. The next one is the pectineus. This one has origins over here on the pubic bone, and then it inserts back here on the femur. And it is a hip flexor as well, so it allows you to lift that leg up. It's also an adductor, so it allows you to pull this femur towards the inside, and also for lateral rotation. So while you're bringing it towards the inside, you can also take it and rotate it to the outside. That is the pectineus. We also have your adductor longus. If you look right here, this one in between these guys, this is your adductor longus. It also has an origin on the pubic bone, and then it inserts on that linea aspera, so that line that we saw on the femur early on when we were talking about bone markings. We talked about the linea aspera as a line, and that is where this muscle and a few others attach. This one allows you to adduct and flex the hip as well. So if you see it's on the inside, it's going to be able to pull up and to the middle. We also have our gracilis muscle, this really thin one that runs down to the tibia. So it has origins up here on that ischiopubic ramus, and then inserts way down here on the tibia. It allows you to flex, so to bring up that femur, also to adduct, and medial rotation, so moving your leg to the inside, so rotating that to the middle. Gracilis means graceful or slender, and if you look at this muscle, it is a very thin line of a muscle that runs down the medial part of your leg. Then we get to the adductor magnus. If you look at it, you can see it right here and up here. So it is deep to your adductor longus and to the adductor brevis. It's below those. And it is really big. It takes up a lot of space, this adductor magnus does. It has origins on the pubis, also on the ischial tuberosity, and then it inserts again on that linea aspera of the femur. Really good at adduction. If you look at it, it's all the way here, so it can bring this really strongly towards the midline of the body. It's also important in flexion, and there's a bit of it back here that can allow you to even extend the hip. So it can flex and extend. It has a bit of a hamstring portion. Then we get to the sartorius muscle. This is sometimes called the Taylor's muscle. You can see it comes out here from the outside of the iliac spine, and then inserts down here on that medial condyle of the tibia. And what it allows you to do is to flex, so to bring the leg up, to abduct it, so to bring it away, and for lateral hip rotation, and to flex the knee. So it does a lot of stuff. It's called the Taylor's muscle because it allows you to pull your leg up and do this position where you can cross your leg over. They call it the Taylor's muscle because when people were depicting tailors way long time ago, they always pictured them sitting with their legs crossed like this. and this is the muscle that allows you to do it. And so the sartorius is sometimes referred to as the tailor's muscle. Coming down to your quadriceps muscles. Quad, what does quad mean? It means 4, right? So your quadriceps muscles, you're going to have 4 muscles that make up these. You're going to have your vastus medialis, rectus femoris, vastus intermedius, and vastus lateralis. The first one we're talking about is the medialis. If you look at it, it says it kind of looks like a teardrop. It's going to be medial, and it's going to be anterior on the femur. It inserts via the quadriceps tendon or the patella tendon, and it allows you to extend the leg. All your quadriceps are going to allow you to extend the leg. So coming to the lateral side, your vastus lateralis. This one has origins on the greater trochanter, and then inserts on that quadriceps or that patellar tendon again, and allows you to extend your knee, or to extend this portion of your leg. Then we go down to your rectus femoris. This one has insertions on that iliac spine, so here you can see the spine. The spine looks like that because your rectus femoris pulls on it, if you remember Wolff's Law that we talked about before. So it shapes that bone by pulling on it with this rectus femoris. Inserts again into the quadriceps tendon or the patellar tendon, and allows you to extend the knee. But since it's up here above the hip, it also allows you to flex your hip. So it allows you to bring your leg up and also kick out that lower portion of your leg. And then the last one is your tensor fascia latae, the TFL, as you can see right here. It's just a little triangular muscle up here. You can see it on the iliac spine, but it inserts on this IT band, or this iliotibial band, that runs the length of your leg laterally, and then inserts down below on the tibia, on the fibula in that region. It allows you to flex your hip. It's a powerful hip flexor. It also allows for medial rotation, abduction. If you're laying on your side and you lift your leg up, if you abduct your leg that way, you're working this tensor fascia lata. It also helps with torso stabilization. If you see it is up here to help with posture and to maintain that torso stabilization. So those were the muscles we just went through. Did I skip the vastus intermedius? Let's see. Yeah, there it is. So I had skipped this one. My bad. So vastus intermedius, this is deep to the rectus femoris. So the rectus femoris is over the top of it. So you have vastus medialis, intermedius, lateralis, and on top of that, your rectus femoris. Vastus intermedius also has origins on the femur, also inserts on that quadriceps tendon. So all the quadriceps have insertions on the quadriceps tendon. All their actions are to extend the knee. Alright. Moving to your posterior muscles, your gluteus maximus, gluteus referring to the buttocks region. Maximus, it's a big one. It has origins on the ilium and on the sacrum, and then it inserts down here on the femur. So here you can see that tensor fascia lata again, your IT band, and that glute coming underneath to insert on the femur. Big time hip extensor. So if you're in a squat position and you go to stand up, you're working your glutes, right? Your gluteus maximus. Coming to our hamstring muscles, we have 3 hamstring muscles. The first one is going to be the semimembranosus. It has origins up on the ischial tuberosity, your butt bone, and then it inserts down on the medial condyle of the tibia and allows for hip extension. So if you're bending your leg and then straighten it out, you can feel this muscle on the back of your thigh contracting. It's also important in knee flexion, so bringing your lower leg up. Then we get to the semitendinosus. This one also has origins on the ischium, also inserts on the tibia, allows flexion of the knee and extension of the hip. So you're going to see how your hamstring muscles are antagonistic to those quadriceps muscles. Quadriceps are all about extending the knee. Hamstrings are all about flexing the knee. This is really similar to our flexors and extensors that we had on our forearm. Remember, you had your flexor carpi radialis and your extensor carpi radialis, allowing you to flex and extend those. You can see your semitendinosus right here. The last one is your biceps femoris. This is why it's always important to put the full name of the muscles down when you're putting stuff down, because if you're talking about that upper arm muscle and call it the biceps, well, that's the biceps brachii, right? Because it's in the brachial region. Your biceps femoris is down here in your leg in the femoral region. So when you're talking about this one, make sure to say biceps femoris. Has its insertion on the ischial the linea aspera, not its insertion, has its origins on the ischial tuberosity, the linea aspera, and then inserts down on the fibula, so to bring up the leg, right? To bring up that lower leg behind you. And it allows you to flex the knee, lateral rotate, and also extend the hip. Because it is a hamstring muscle. All those hamstrings extend the hip, flex the knee. Now we're going to get to the piriformis muscles. You can see they come from the sacrum and they insert back here on the greater trochanter. They allow for lateral rotation. But something that is of import is lying right underneath that is your sciatic nerve. Your sciatic nerve is really important in control and feeling that you have throughout your entire leg. So it comes down and then it splits into an anterior and posterior part. But it really deals with a lot of the senses in your legs and the muscle control in your legs. So if anybody has pain due to maybe this piriformis muscle being inflamed and pushing on that nerve, you can get something called sciatica, which is just you have pain that runs all the way down your leg. Then we get to the peroneus, or the fibularis. Remember, peroneal is not the same as perineal. So your peroneus, we have our peroneus longus, this muscle that comes from the top of the fibula all the way down to the metatarsal 1. So metatarsal 1 is going to be which one? That's going to be the one with your big toe, right? It is important in plantar flexion and eversion, so allowing you to roll your foot to the outside. Then we get our tibialis anterior. This one is going to be anterior on the tibia. It starts lateral, and then it also comes down to metatarsal 1. And it allows you to do dorsal flexion and inversion. So if you point your toes up, you can feel this muscle. This is the muscle that is responsible for shin splints, if you ever had those. Then we have our extensor digitorum longus. If you remember, we had a extensor digitorum up on your upper arm on your forearm so you can extend your fingers. We have an extensor digitorum longus down here on your lower leg. Starts on the tibia, inserts down on these phalanges, just like we saw in the hand. right? It's going to be that proximal part on the middle phalanges. This one also comes out to the distal phalanges and allows for toe extension and dorsiflexion. So again, bringing those toes towards your back. Here's another image showing how everything meets up. So you can see how this fibrillaris comes down and then underneath to hook up with metatarsal 1. Tibialis anterior coming down right here in the green to hook up with metatarsal 1. And then extensor digitorum coming out to all these 4 little piggies. On the posterior side, you have your gastrocnemius. This is the muscle that people call their calf muscle. It starts up here on the femur, on the lateral and medial condyles, and then inserts via the Achilles tendon or the calcaneus tendon down onto the calcaneus. Very powerful plantar flexor. Also helps you flex the knee. As you see, it goes across that joint. It can help with knee flexion. Just deep to that one, you have your soleus. Has origins on the fibula and the tibia. Inserts again onto the calcaneus via that Achilles tendon. Again, this one is important in plantar flexion. So these muscles on the back, plantar flexions, the muscles in the front, dorsiflexion. We also have your popliteus, or popliteus, depending on how you want to say that. Lateral epicondyle of the femur, so out here on the outside, and then it wraps around to the inside. This muscle is important in unlocking your knee. So if you stand with your knees locked, to unlock it, you use this muscle and allows you to rotate your knee. Down here you can see your flexor digitorum longus, allowing you to flex the digits. And your flexor hallucis longus, you remember the fancy name for your big toe, is the hallux. So this one allows you to flex your big toe. And that is it for the muscles. So that finishes out this week. Next week, we will talk about the cardiovascular system and then take a test.